Welcome to Indie Film Cafe. I'm your host, Jonathan Mooney. I'm here with...
Holly presents known as the Moo Cow Moo.
And our Indie Film Cafe spotlight today is with...
John Ward.
Yay.
And John just did a What the Fuck Friday with us.
Yes,
and
my very first one.
Very first one. And our second of the season. So get ready for that.
Made it on to season 2.
Yes.
Wasn't good enough for season 1, but I made it on to season 2.
Well, I was not in Las Vegas yet. You know,
so there's reasons for this.
Yes, because
yes.
Otherwise you would be, you know. You could have just blew yourself out and we'd put you on there at any time if you wanted to.
That's true.
John is a Vegas filmmaker, so tell us, please, about some of your films that you've made.
I have made, which as I'm sure probably a lot of people on Facebook get flooded with all my crap, Aximus 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm. And what is Aximus 1 and 2?
Killer Santa Claus movies that take place inside a storage facility, but they're it's a larger story than that. It's basically kind of Scream and Silent Night, Deadly Night combined.
The first one, right?
And well, actually, any of the Screams and any of the Silent Night, Deadly Nights.
So, but no Garbage Day, right?
No, in fact, I want to get Eric Freeman.
Oh, you want to get Eric Freeman?
Yeah, I love Eric Freeman. Yes. And the beginning of Aximus 2, there is a scene where the Drew Marvick, who's the killer Santa, forces a tree through a guy who's Mark Justice, and that was me upping it from Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2, where the Santa puts the umbrella through the body.
I haven't seen the movies yet. I'd like to, but do you have it where like Santa takes the cookies that people have left out for him and just like shoves them down someone's throat?
No cookies yet, because it's a family.
Okay, but Death by Cookies might be fun.
So yeah, it could be. He does Machete. He does the axe, of course, because it's called Aximus. He kills people in a variety of different ways.
Very cool.
But it's a whole family that this is what they do for Christmas. Is that, and it could take place anywhere. It just happens to take place at a storage facility.
Okay.
So, and then Meat Hook Massacre 4, and then I did 2 found footage films. One called Cannibal, and then one called If I Can't Have You, and then also did an episode for Tales from the Grave called Skull Evil.
Skull Evil?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What's that one about?
It's a cosmic horror film that's basically a meteorite lands in the desert out here in Las Vegas, and it has a green mist, and when it goes through a person, they instantly turn into a skeleton. Mm. And so Julie Prescott is in it, and
cool.
There's a few other people, and so it's basically just this guy running around an apartment complex trying to figure out what's going on, and he's talking to 2 people, and then he turns this way and he turns back, and they're just skeletons standing there.
Oh wow!
Okay, so you say that you came here in 2006.
Mm-hmm.
Where were you coming from?
California, from Pasadena.
Okay, and were your movies shot in California, or did you shoot most of them here in Vegas?
Here in Vegas.
Here in Vegas. So is there an advantage to shooting in Vegas than there was, say, in Pasadena?
I would think so. Now with social media and everything, and with how easy, for $1,000 you could buy a great film kit. And there's a growing film community out here.
Oh, great. Okay, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So it's you work with a lot of the same people, but you tend to trust them, so they'll always call on you, and then you can go work, then they'll work on your films.
Okay,
so,
that's great, because we before we started doing this, we had talked about how there was an earlier film community here, Ray Dennis Steckler and Ted V. Michaels, and I'm sure there were probably a few other folks here. So I'm glad to see that the tradition of indie filmmaking is still here in Vegas, and we still got people carrying on the tradition. That's great.
Yeah, you have like Drew Marvick, who just did Pool Party Massacre. You also
He's in Vegas?
He's in Vegas, yeah.
For some reason maybe I'm getting mixed up with other people, but...
He travels everywhere.
Okay.
He promotes himself in the film all over the place.
Okay.
So, but he is out here. You have, of course, Joe Lujan, who did the Rust movies and Immortal Wars. You have people like the Hall brothers. You have Heidi Moore. So there's a fair amount of filmmakers out here.
That's great.
Yeah, I think it's growing, as he's saying, so I think there's even lots more people coming.
Is it maybe a little cheaper here than California?
Oh, it's a lot cheaper. It's for Aximus 2, I needed a bookstore and I needed a restaurant. All I had to do was buy a book and buy a meal. That's all I had to do.
Wow.
They let us shoot in there all day.
As long as you were a patron.
Yeah, they're just like, yeah, buy a couple books, and whatever crew wanted to stay, I bought them lunch. That's all they cared about.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so there was no permits, there was no nothing. It was just, just buy a meal.
So in California, there's just nothing but permits, pretty much. For
Permits
everything?
everywhere. You got to get permission to shoot everywhere. Skull Evil, I shot completely at my apartment complex.
Oh, that's great.
At no point did anybody from the leasing office or anything say you can't shoot here.
But that was in Las Vegas?
Yeah.
Okay, in California, are you not allowed to shoot in your apartment?
You would probably have to get permission.
You would have to get a permit just for that.
Yeah, I would probably say so.
But they don't have things like grants or anything like that. I mean, one of the things about Virginia, where I'm back in, is that they're since it looks like some folks are trying to leave Atlanta and they're looking to maybe take some of that business and bring it to Virginia, so they want to get out some film credits or some tax credits to draw in some of that work. I don't know whether that's actually going to happen, but I know that's what some folks have been talking about. Is there anything like that here in Vegas?
There are certain things. I haven't been part of a lot of those because everything's just so easy to film out here. I mean, I know a lot of filmmakers in LA who just shoot without permits and stuff. So
there are film festivals here too, right? I mean, what was the one that you were talking about? I forget the name of it. The horror one.
Oh, Days of the Dead.
There's the convention for that.
yeah, Days of the Dead is out here. We just had Shock Fest. Lloyd Kaufman's been out here a few times.
Yay,
So.
Uncle Lloyd.
Yeah, because Julie and Drew are part of that. So
Okay.
they both know Lloyd, and so they're part of the whole trip. Heidi Moore's new film is
Well,
Art of Trauma.
plus two. I mean, when it comes down to it, it's only what, a 5-hour drive to LA from here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, not bad. If you can, even if I lived in LA and made a lot of movies, I don't see why I wouldn't want to come out to Vegas
And just shoot.
Right, and just take advantage of the atmosphere and the fact that you've got all these great people here and resources.
But
Yeah.
as we noticed, we're right here in this hotel. So we noticed from the last video that we did that there are a lot of planes that go overhead and everything. Is that, do you guys have to hold for sound a lot for that?
It depends on where you're shooting. It's normally not a problem now.
No.
I mean, when we shot the first Aximus, there was helicopters, so we'd have to wait for that. But the planes really aren't that big of a problem, and a lot of times you can remove that anyways.
So here's a stupid questioner from a Eastern Flatlander, doesn't know any better. We were driving through and we're noticing all the great mountains and everything. We're like, who owns these? Can you just go up and climb them? Or is somebody going to kick you off? Or, I mean, who owns them? Somebody's got to own them.
I don't know who owns them, but yes, you could just go up and climb them.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, because there's Red Rock and there's a lot of places for hiking.
So you could just go out and shoot anywhere out in the desert?
Yeah, when we shot Cannibal, which was for the VHS Violence 2, I just drove out towards Nelson's Landing and just found a spot where there was like a ravine, and I literally marked the sign that was next to it, like the road marker.
Right.
And that's where we shot. We shot an entire day out there.
Oh, that's great.
So there were a bunch of cars on the sides of the road, and we were down there shooting, and not one person said anything. A couple of people stopped to see if we were okay, like was there an accident? But no cops, no nothing.
What about things like, rattlesnakes and cactuses and...
There are those, yes. Yeah, Mindy, our lead actress in Cannibal, did get stung by a bee. So that was not fun.
No.
But otherwise, they're out there, but they don't see the bug you. They hide.
Okay.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. Well, and that's interesting because like even the desert is just kind of like our version of the woods in a way, or like we like I shot a couple shorts in the woods, and one short I was shooting this movie, a short called Hatchet Lady that we did. What was Hatchet Lady? No, that was the other one I was gonna do. The one I did was I did this other short that was out called Bashed, out in the middle of the woods, and we were gonna shoot in this one little area, and this actually this lady who we did call the Hatchet Lady came in and she said she owned the woods and kicked us out. So since then it's been really tough for us to like shoot in those woods. When we shot Follow Me in those
Right,
exact same
right.
woods, we were on the lookout for the lady because like technically we weren't sure if she still owned those woods or not, but we went and we shot it there anyway because.
And didn't you also have a problem when you did your the first slumber party film with people like going by and asking you, "Are you shooting a movie?" And
Oh yeah. I don't know if it was that or if it was Sasquatch vs Yeti, but I think people were doing that when we were shooting some in the woods. Like you go in the woods and people are walking by, because it's a public woods. Anybody can go in there. I'm sure the desert's pretty simple and bare or whatever compared to like woods.
The problem with the desert is of course gunfire because people are out there just shooting their guns.
right.
You get those like ATVs or like motorcycles out there. So with something like Cannibal is we could keep hearing gunshots.
And that's fine. It works.
And so Mindy and I said let's just use that. So whenever you hear a gunshot, react. So they go, oh, gunshot again, and so I didn't have to do anything with the sound. I didn't have to add in gunshots or anything. It's just play with it. We got it. But then you could hear in the background from time to time these like kids, like on motorcycles or whatever they were going around. So.
Yeah, we had to hold for sound for a bunch of kids and stuff, and when we were doing Follow Me.
Yeah.
But there's this great scene. I don't know if you're familiar with For Your Height Only, the Great Wing Wing movie. But he's doing his own stunts, and they have him when he's like climbing this fence, and those cameras set up, and you're seeing the street in the background, and people are walking by like, "What the hell is that?" And they're like stopping and pointing, and they're just like, "Keep rolling, keep rolling."
That's just like
funny.
That's just like what we saw in Vampire's Kiss.
Yeah, and Vampire's Kiss.
You ever seen the movie Vampire's Kiss with Nicolas Cage?
A long time ago.
He's running around saying, I'm a vampire to like random people, and these people are just looking at him like he's insane. We're pretty sure those are just random people that they just
on the street.
On the street. They found them because they were the looks on their faces.
So funny.
It's just great.
Well, it matters, I think, where you're at and what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So, when we were doing If I Can't Have You, which is like a found footage thing, so is Cannibal, we had Julie, she just took, I think it was her phone or my phone, I'm not sure which one, but we went to public areas. We were in a park. We went into, I think it was a Vaughn's or like a Smith's, and she was just following around two actors with the phone acting, and I'm standing behind her and I'm holding another camera kind of doing a behind the scenes. So people are walking around the store and people who work there are walking around, and here we are shooting and Julie's crying and everything, and nobody said anything.
And I think I remember talking with Ray Dennis Steckler about how it was just easier and cheaper when he came to Las Vegas because he shot Las Vegas Serial Killer. He never needed permits. He never had to ask anybody's permission. He could shoot all kinds of like the casinos and all the famous things and all the streets, and nobody said boo to him. He just let him go and let him do what he wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
So he was very happy about that.
Yeah, I think as long as you're kind of keeping it low key, you're okay.
That's great.
So I think that there's definitely advantages to being in Vegas over LA.
And it's kind of like that whole thing about, whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. You're kind of allowed to do a few things that you might not get away with in other cities.
Oh, I would definitely say so.
Okay.
We're having a guy in a Santa Claus suit running around with an axe.
There was a documentary, I forget the name of it, but it was about the guy who went out and he was documenting the various homeless peoples in various cities, and I think he came to Vegas because there's, I guess, a large homeless population living in like water runoff, storm sewer pipes and stuff like that.
You can go by, you'll see, there's like the road, and then there's kind of like this little like dip, and then there's the road, and there's these tubes basically for water, and a lot of times you'll see clothing or a board or plastic, and down those kind of like drainage holes is a whole community.
Wow.
So yeah, they're all underground here in Vegas. So there's a whole community.
And it's, from what I understand, it's pretty dangerous because, even if it's not raining here, it can rain elsewhere, but that water builds and builds and builds in the pipes, and then flash flood, and you can drown.
Yeah, when they made, Vegas, they obviously didn't realize how bad the rain was. And I helped, this is years ago, I helped somebody push their car just off the street, and the rain was up to my, was up to my knees.
Wow.
And his car just shut down. He tried to get through an area that was flooded. And that's many of the streets in Vegas are like that. It's just, they look fine one day and then it rains and it's like an ocean.
Well, we're going to have to do a sick flick production in Vegas. So I think that'd be great.
That would be awesome. I would love that, actually, especially if, like, you're shooting at a casino or something. Like, I don't know if the Mardi Gras would let you shoot there or not, but that where we're staying. But
that's cool.
Yeah.
A place like this, they may or may not, but we have, like, I did something with Heidi Moore. We just went to one of the seedy ones, and we paid for the room and said, hey, we're going to be shooting this movie here, and the guy's like, yeah, that's fine. So the seedy places, they don't care.
And I know there's some porn that gets shot here too.
There's a lot of porn that gets
shot.
Yeah.
Just like California.
Which is fine, and no judgment here. Got no problems with that.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that.
More power to you.
That's right.
That's what you're into.
Damn straight.
Hashtag porn.
That's where you're going to be making money, I would think.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you. Is there any project that you didn't mention that you wanted to let us know about?
We're going to be doing Maximus 3 and 4 later on next year, probably around October.
Cool.
And we're going to shoot those back to back, and we're going to be focusing on Ghoul is our next one. So.
Oh, nice.
Nice. So where can I pick up a copy of Maximus 1 and 2?
ScreenTimeFilms.com. You can get them both through there.
That's Todd Jason Falcon Cook.
Yes.
How you say his whole freaking name.
That is how you say his whole name. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's his. That's awesome. That's
All right.
great.
Let's make sure we put the address on the
Screen Time Films.
things, yeah. On the video, so that everybody else out there can do that.
Yeah,
too.
the DVDs. I put the DVDs together. Todd authored everything, and the DVDs are just packed because the films are only 30 minutes each. So, like the first DVD has like 2 audio commentaries, a 70-minute behind the scenes, and then a whole bunch of still galleries.
Oh, that's great! I love stuff like that.
So the behind the scenes is longer than the movies.
Yeah,
movies
that's
put
cool.
together. That's awesome.
Yeah, and then we made for the Maximus 2. It's 2 DVDs. So you have 5 audio commentaries, and then on the second disc is another 70-minute behind the scenes with a whole bunch of photos and posters and stuff like that. So
love it.
Yeah,
That's
so
fabulous.
it's people will get their money's worth out of it. 'Cause,
Yay!
Well, there you go. Go buy it.
Right.
Go buy it, people.
Please do.
Yes.
So we can make part 3 and 4.
Yay!
Yes, exactly. We were actually just talking about that like you need people need to go and buy these things instead of just watching them or whatever on streaming, because streaming doesn't really pay for the people, but the buying of the DVDs really pays the indie filmmakers out there.
And that's one reason why we wanted to do this Spotlight series, is because we watch and enjoy all of these things, and we get some to work with some of them. So we might as well throw the spotlight on the folks who make them, get them to tell us about who they are and what they're doing, and I think if we can help push a few more units out there for you, then we're more than happy.
Oh yeah, I appreciate
to make that
it.
happen.
Thank you. So it's also as a final thing to mention out here too is you have Tom Devlin, who works a lot with Full Moon, is out here.
Great.
And one of his students, who now has a whole career on her own, is Miranda Dudley, and she does all my effects. So she's really rising, but Tom's a big part of getting this stuff made.
Any chance?
Company is called 1313 Effects.
Yeah.
Right?
Any chance Robin Sidney ever shows up here?
When I worked on Evil Bong 777, she was on it.
But that was in Las Vegas?
Yeah, they shot it here, yeah.
Oh,
I have a huge crush on Robin Sidney.
She's very sweet. She's very nice.
Yeah. She's a sweetheart.
Yeah, so that was... And Tom's Monster Museum is only in Boulder City, which isn't that far away, yeah.
Holy smokes.
They actually just redid the whole freeway.
Passed by Boulder City.
We did pass by, because we drove from 93 from Kingman.
Oh yeah, so I saw your post. So if you came like over Boulder Dam, you drove right past it.
Yeah.
Oh,
wow. We could have stopped and...
if we had known.
Or if we had time. We really didn't have much time.
We're kind of playing tomorrow by ear, so I guess we could see what happens.
Yeah, with the new freeways, it really only takes about 20 minutes to get out there. So
nice.
And he's normally there, but can't guarantee it. But
right.
So how can people find you?
I do have Twitter and Instagram just under John Ward or John Lee Ward, but I barely use them. with the way that Facebook is going, I guess I should start to use them more. But
wait. Where's Facebook going?
I guess that they're eliminating a lot of like the live stuff. So like if you wanted to do a podcast live, you can't do that anymore. Is from what I understand, is that they're eliminating these things.
Well, we've been doing them.
Yeah, we've been doing like a bunch of the live videos. I don't know if they're not. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's what I've heard is that they're just kind of eliminating things. But
probably. I mean, they're gonna try to fix things or whatever, take things in a different direction. I'm sure. And
well, that's why you kind of got to play, the game and just use everything. So YouTube and podcasts and
Twitter
Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and everything. Just
yeah. And I'm on YouTube also. So most of it is just John Ward or John Lee Ward. Facebook is just John Ward.
We've actually been trying to find somebody who could be a social media intern for us, who can help us out and just be able to post on all the different platforms that are out there, just because
we just
so
don't
much
have
time.
Yeah, it's time consuming. We had one, but unfortunately it didn't work out. So after a while, like an intern
would be great, because if they want to be sort of introduced to the business and maybe pick up a few tips, maybe get to act in a movie or something. This would be a good way to sort of.
I might have somebody for you. I might have somebody. Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
We'll definitely talk to you after this.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank
great.
you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh yeah, sure.
Cool.
Thank
This
you.
has been great.
Nice meeting you.
Oh yeah, nice meeting both of you too.
And everybody, check out. We'll have some more. Indie Film Cafe spotlights coming up.
Yep.
Some awesome guests that'll be from Las Vegas and from LA.
Yeah.
So
And Virginia.
He's gonna try to get some people in Virginia.
East Coast Maven, that's gonna be me.
Yeah, he's gonna be doing all the East Coast ones. I'll be doing a lot of the West Coast ones. So
He's trying to drag me out to the West Coast, but
I'm trying.
Gotta get a job.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, thank you guys so much.
Right,
and
thanks very much.
Hope you enjoy this. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.